Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, the internet, and the like, and welcome back to Team Fortress 2. Today, I have a full match on Payload Gold Rush as a rather festive engineer using the Festive Frontier Justice, the pistol, and the Jaguar wrench. Now, unfortunately, the pistol and the Jaguar are not festive variants, although I hope that there will be festive variants in the near future of this year's Smithmas. One can always dream. First of all, while I'm setting up my first base here on the second stage of Payload Gold Rush, I would like to call to attention that there is more than one seriously stupid here. To clear things up, the medic who is healing me right now is seriously stupid number 2. That happens to be Bread, and he manages to pocket both me and Kokosnootje. Kokosnootje is putting on the guise of seriously stupid number 3, and shortly in a couple of minutes, Koff will join the game, and eventually he assumes the role of seriously stupid number 4 as a spy. So right now I'm just setting up my first base on Payload Gold Rush. This is actually my favorite sentry spot on stage 2, due to the fact that it has a fairly good field of view. It can cover people who are trying to flank your sentry from the left side. Also, from the right watchtower, normally other people have to keep a hold of that section, and we do manage to pull that off for a couple of minutes, but again, as you could probably expect, it does not last considering the length of this gameplay, and that's that. We're just going to have to see what happens. So right now, my sentry starts off by getting a couple of soldiers knocked out of the air who are using the base jumper. Fairly interesting choice of theirs. Getting one kill with the sentry right now, and Bread is still healing me, trying to make sure that this sentry is completely maintained in this area. The problem with this spot is that you can see out there in the distance for a brief second where most people tend to leave their spawn on the blue team. And the problem with this is that snipers and soldiers probably using rocket launchers have a very decent range of being able to shoot down your sentry from a distance, because it does not cover quite enough ground, or airspace, I guess I should say, to actually kill the enemies who are just leaving spawn. So it's a bit of a gamble. It requires a lot of constant maintenance and repair, and if a demo man is spamming stickies, you've basically lost the battle, and thankfully that didn't happen. Instead, I was too careless to repair my sentry, and it got taken out with bullets, but here we go. Here comes the first Uber from Bread. Thank you very much for this Uber, Bread, because we do manage to kill 4 people with it. Starting off with Heavy, moving on to the Engineer as Koko takes out his sentry gun, and then killing 2 remaining snipers. Almost getting a pick off of that demo, but alas, I lost my crits. And here comes my first death, but not without actually taking out this medic, courtesy of random crits. Praise be to Gabe Newell for giving me those random crits at that very moment, so that way I could take out that medic. Mr. Medic, who I killed, I apologize, but Gabe Newell gave me the crits, and as such, I had no choice. And here is basically the part where we start losing ground, start losing territory at the first point, because this is definitely the most difficult point to hold down when you're playing Gold Rush. Unfortunately, it's sort of similar to Dust Bowl in a way the map is designed. Similar to Stage 1, we actually lost the first stage fairly easily, and at the time, that was before the team was really starting to assemble and sort of click with each other. So right now, I'm setting my sentry, hoping to take it through my teleporter, but then I check where the card is and I see that my teleporter is pretty much in a really dangerous spot that could be camped. So after someone takes it, I manually destroy the exit, and we decide to move the sentry up to a little spot which I can appreciate when you're trying to defend the second sort of region of Gold Rush, I guess I could say. In this little window right here, this is a fairly good vantage point since it covers the area from where the cart is emitting from when the blue team actually decides to push it forward. There are a few flaws with this spot, much like a lot of spots where engineers tend to set up on most maps. The biggest flaw being the right side and the left side, so more like 2 flaws. The left side because there's actually a small part of that window where soldiers can actually shoot right through a piece of scenery and can easily destroy your sentry. And from the right side, you can see the flaws already with this soldier right here, who happens to be trying to spam my stuff out with a direct hit. He goes down after destroying my sentry, and my dispenser. My sentry is very much still alive, but my dispenser, my poor dispenser, man, it needs healing up. So I just build another one, and rip in peace, old dispenser. You will be missed, but this one proves to be a lot more handy because I actually managed to get it up to level 3. My sentry, however, is not so lucky to last very long as this dispenser is, because right in this particular time, after I finish leveling my dispenser up, I believe an Uber Demo Man appears, and there he is right now. 2 stickies is pretty much all it takes to destroy my sentry, and that is that. I'm left with 33 health points left, and watch this right here. You see that parachuting Demo Man, like, right now? Yeah, the one that Brett is chasing. I cracked up so hard when that first happened. I know it's kind of difficult to see, but that poor Demo Man was just going on a parachuting adventure, and Brad was just not having any of it. I quickly sneak up that pumpkin pie health kit and take out this engineer who was using the mini sentry. Shame on you, go back to using a big sentry, it's probably much more worth your time. Also picking off that Demo Man with a couple of extra revenge crits. Now I'm left with 2, which I unfortunately do not put a lot of use to, but I decide to fall back and save them for another time, so that way I can build my sentry in an area where the engineer, who probably could have been building right here, happened to be AFK. He did manage to set up a dispenser and a teleporter, although it's not really enough to last due to the fact that he is AFK, and eventually he might have left the game. So I'm basically the only engineer left on the team right now, all things considered. I don't know why I didn't bother to move my dispenser back, now that I think about it, because this dispenser in this area is not really the most handy one at the moment, because right now, my team is trying to take hold of this control point, or this choke point, I guess you could say. I guess you could call it a control point, because the control point is based off of B, and if they capture the control point, it's all over, and we'd be off to stage 3. But spoiler warning, we don't lose this stage, thankfully, because teamwork was very evident during this gameplay. And this is something that I kind of want to talk about before we sort of commentate more about the gameplay. Teamwork is one of the best things in Team Fortress 2. It's why it's called Team Fortress 2. If you don't have teamwork, chances are you're not going to be the most successful Texan engineer on the battlefield. And things worked out a lot in our favor, because for one thing, Bread is constantly healing both me, the team, and Coco. Mainly he pockets Coco and I, but for the most part he's giving us the heals so that way we can stay alive and do our business. And also because Coco is playing Pyro, and he's keeping a constant watch of my stuff, such as, like, not right now, but later on. Trust me, he is keeping watch of my stuff, but also being attentive to what's going on at the front lines. And when you have teamwork like this, especially when you have Bread who is giving you Ubers while you're playing Engineer, everything is just amazing. You can actually get some serious work done with an engineer who has Frontier Justice crits. It's a very underrated tactic to Uber an engineer who has crits like this. And also the same can be said for crits popping an engineer who is using the Widowmaker, which I should probably do a video on at some point. I did one a long time ago where Mediscout happened to pocket me with crits. Maybe I should pull him into doing another one. I'm sure he would enjoy it. I'm sure he would enjoy starring in another one of my videos. So that all being said, with the emphasis on teamwork right here, unfortunately Koff right there manages to backstab one of our medics, and he does dead ring, but the dead ringer is not enough to suppress the damage of a sticky bomb. And I actually didn't notice this in the kill feed when I first saw it. Like, I thought he was just going to pop a dead ringer and then come back and try to do some more damage to my sentry gun and stuff. So I was a little bit terrified, whilst trying to spy check and also level up my dispenser simultaneously, being a little bit of a paranoid engineer. And the funny thing is, throughout all of this spy checking, what really actually happens is that while I'm trying to set up this dispenser and also keeping a watch of my stuff, he does come in and he almost does manage to sap my sentry with my back turned. And he probably could have gotten a quick stab off of me, but I digress. What happened happened, so right now just trying to make sure my dispenser is leveled up, and there he is, and he goes down because Coco is here. So everything is good in this universe, because a Pyro guarding an engineer nest is one of the most handy things in Team Fortress 2. So now, having known that Kov is temporarily dead, I decide to move up my sentry gun, with Bread still healing me, and if you're wondering why I occasionally do a 360 while hauling buildings, this is actually to throw off snipers that you may be fearing are present in the battlefield. This is one thing that Coco taught me a while ago, is that if you're concerned about a sniper that's trying to pick you off, one of the best tactics is being able to sort of shift your hitbox around to make sure that the sniper does not get a headshot off of you. So, if you jump and do a quick little 360, you become a little bit more difficult to hit as far as I know. It's good to sort of time the 360 so that way you do not just do it extremely quickly and make yourself a lot easier to hit, sort of like I did. It kinda has to be sort of slow turning so that way your head becomes a little bit difficult to target. So right now, just keeping a watch of my sentry gun in this area, and here is actually a bit of a fail Uber, but also a bit of a success. For one thing, Bread decides to Uber me for a quick little minute, so that way I can move my sentry up, and what happens is I didn't realize this level 3 sentry was out there by the tunnel, but I do manage to get this up, so that way my sentry can destroy their sentry, and that's basically all that happened. It's like a sniper picking off an enemy counter sniper and then dying immediately afterwards, and that's basically what happened right here. Although, I choose to believe that I did not die to that Brass Beast Heavy. Instead, I fainted at the sight of a Brass Beast Heavy revving his gun up at me, and I decided to take some time in respawn to consider my life decisions. So, there goes the nest, it's going down. And this is usually where the team could fall apart, is that if the nest goes down and the blue team begins to push forward, this area of Gold Rush can easily be lost if a proper push is initiated. However, thankfully, such is not the case. In fact, a level 1 sentry almost does a lot of work on itself right here. I think it manages to get maybe 2 or 3 kills, and right now I'm just trying to make sure that the level 1 is in a fairly decent spot while I'm trying to set up this dispenser. I'm also trying to make my move unpredictable, so that way, if Koff is trying to headshot me with his ambassador, he'll have a bit more of a difficult time. So, if you are an engineer, I would advise this for just about any engineers out there. If you're trying to set up a sentry or a building, and if you're worried about spies, do not just stand there hitting your sentry in a spot where chances are you could be backstabbed. It's good to make sure your movement is unpredictable and a lot more difficult for a spy to hit. And right now my sentry goes down, but I am rewarded with a couple of crits. 2 heavies on the cart, no problem. Bread takes a few of them out with his Uber Saw, and I clean one up with the Frontier Justice, and we push the enemy team back up to just 1 minute left on the counter with a quick little Uber, so that way I can set up my base once more. This time I decide to build my sentry in the spot that I had used earlier, and this works out fairly well in my favor because it does manage to get 2 or 3 kills like the last sentry. But first of all, I would like to apologize to Koff right here. I would like to sincerely apologize to you, good sir, for what happens in just a minute or so. So, just gonna set up this sentry right here, spy checking to make sure no spies show up and act like spies ever should. And I think this is around the point where Koff decides to rear his head towards me and he wants to sap my building. So, any second now. There he is. Barring the engineer's little quip about spies right there, I would like to sincerely apologize to you, Koff, for that random crit, because I sincerely did not deserve that crit at all. It was a pretty terrible time for a random crit. It happens with engineer from time to time with melee weapons. And this is going to be the end of the gameplay right here. I would like to thank all of you, Bread, Koff, and Koko, for starring in this gameplay. I would like to especially thank you all for your teamwork and support in this gameplay. I wouldn't have done it without you, so you guys are the real MVPs of this team. And lastly, I would like to thank Mediscout for trading me his Face Full of Festive beard, because it is a very sexy beard, and I like Christmas lights. So that's going to wrap things up. So thank you guys very much for watching. Have a great day or evening, and I guess I will see you in the next video.